What if I told you there is a number that can completely change the way you feel about money? Not $1 million, not a six-figure salary, and definitely not some magical number you have to inherit before you can finally relax. I'm talking about a number that is specific to you, a number that tells you, if I can consistently reach this amount, I'm no longer financially drowning. And here's the strange part. Most people have never calculated it, so they keep chasing a bigger paycheck without knowing what they're actually chasing. They make more money, then spend more money, they get a raise, and somehow still feel broke. Today, we're going to calculate your personal enough number. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to find yours in about 10 minutes. Because the goal isn't to become rich enough to stop worrying. It's to know exactly what enough looks like. Imagine someone named David. David isn't unemployed, he isn't completely irresponsible with money, and he isn't spending thousands of dollars on luxury cars. He actually earns decent money. But every time he gets paid, something strange happens. His money arrives, and immediately, his brain starts subtracting rent, food, transport, electricity, debt payments, family expenses, and then there's that one unexpected expense that always seems to appear at the worst possible moment. A broken phone, a medical bill, a car repair. Suddenly, the paycheck that looked big on paper doesn't feel big anymore. So David starts thinking, I just need to earn more. Then he gets a raise, and for a few weeks, he feels better. But eventually, the same feeling comes back. That's the trap. You can increase your income without increasing your sense of security. And when that happens, you don't actually have an income problem. You have an enough problem. We've been taught a very simple equation. More money equals less stress. And to a certain point, that's obviously true. If you're struggling to pay for food, housing, transportation, or basic necessities, earning more money can dramatically improve your life. But there's a problem. Once your basic needs are covered, the relationship changes. You earn more, so you upgrade your lifestyle. Your apartment gets nicer. Your phone gets more expensive. Your weekends get more expensive. Your subscriptions multiply. And suddenly, your old lifestyle feels impossible to return to. Your income went up. But so did the amount of money you believe you need. That's why someone earning $2,000 can feel broke, while someone earning $5,000 can feel broke. And even someone earning $10,000 can still say, I don't feel financially secure. So the question isn't simply, how much money do I make? The better question is, how much money do I actually need to feel that my life is under control? Researchers have spent years trying to understand this exact relationship between money and happiness. One famous U.S. study by Daniel Kahneman and Angus Deaton found that emotional well-being generally increased with income, but the benefits became much smaller beyond a certain income level. That number was around $75,000 per year in the dollars of that study. But don't take that number and run with it. It wasn't a universal happiness salary. It was based on a particular population, country, time period and measurement. And later research has challenged the idea of one universal cutoff. The important lesson is much simpler. Money matters enormously when it removes serious financial pressure. But after your basic life is reasonably secure, earning more doesn't automatically remove every worry. Because money can buy option, it can buy convenience, it can buy better experiences, but it can't automatically tell your brain, you're safe now. That's why your personal number matters more than somebody else's salary. Here's where things get interesting. There is no single number that makes everyone feel financially safe. Your number depends on your life. Imagine two people earning exactly the same salary. Person A lives alone. Person B supports 3 children. Person A rents a small apartment. Person B pays a mortgage. Person A has no debt. Person B has student loans, a car payment and credit card debt. Same income. Completely different financial reality. Location matters too. Someone living in an expensive city may need thousands more each month simply to maintain the same basic lifestyle. And then there are responsibilities, parents, children, healthcare, debt, transportation. That's why copying someone else's financial freedom number can be dangerous. Their number belongs to their life. You need a number built around your life. And we're going to build it using 3 simple pieces. Your enough number has 3 parts. Think of them like 3 layers protecting you from the feeling of being broke. Layer number 1 is your baseline. That's what your life costs when you're not trying to impress anybody. Housing, food, utilities, transportation, minimum debt payments, the essentials. Layer number 2 is your buffer. That's the money that protects your baseline when life does something unexpected. Because life will do something unexpected. And layer number 3 is your margin. This is the small amount of money you can spend without feeling guilty. Coffee, dinner, a movie, a small purchase. Something that reminds you that your budget isn't a prison. Here's the key. Most people only think about layer 1. They calculate what they need to survive. But survival isn't the same thing as financial peace. You need all 3. Step 1 is brutally simple. Find your baseline, open your banking app, look at the last 1 or 2 months, and write down the expenses that keep your life running. Housing, food, electricity, water, transportation, insurance, minimum debt payments, basic communication, necessary family expenses. Don't include the vacation you wish you could afford. Don't include the luxury lifestyle you saw on Instagram. Just your actual baseline. Let's say our example person spends $900 on housing, $350 on food, $150 on utilities, $200 on transportation, $250 on debt minimums, and $150 on other essentials. That's $2,000. So their first number is $2,000 per month. But here's the problem. If they earn exactly $2,000, they're still one broken phone away from panic. That's where the second layer comes in. Your second number is your buffer. Think of it as financial shock absorption. Without a buffer, every unexpected expense becomes an emergency. With a buffer, the same expense becomes an inconvenience. That's a massive psychological difference. Imagine your baseline is $2,000. Then your car breaks down and you need $300. If you have $50 in your account, that $300 bill feels like a disaster. If you have $1,000 sitting safely aside, it's annoying, but manageable, and you don't need to build the perfect emergency fund overnight. Start with something smaller. Your first target could be $500, then $1,000. Eventually, work towards several months of essential expenses if your situation allows. The important thing is to create separation. Your everyday spending money should not be your emergency money, because when your brain knows that one surprise expense won't destroy your month, your account balance starts feeling very different. You're not just looking at money, you're looking at protection. Now we get to the part people often ignore. Your margin. Let's say you've built a perfect budget. Every dollar has a job, rent is covered, food is covered, debt is covered, savings are happening, but you've given yourself absolutely no room to enjoy your money. Eventually, the budget starts feeling like punishment. And that's when people break it. So give yourself a small amount that you are allowed to spend. No guilt, no justification, no financial lecture afterward. Maybe it's $50, maybe it's $100, maybe it's $200. The amount doesn't matter as much as the permission, because financial security isn't only about knowing you can survive. It's also about feeling that you have some control over your choices. That small margin tells your brain, I'm managing my money isn't managing me. And that feeling can be surprisingly powerful. Now let's put everything together. Our fictional person has a baseline of $2,000. That covers the basic cost of keeping their life running. Next, they decide to put $300 every month toward building and maintaining their financial buffer. And finally, they give themselves $150 of guilt-free spending money. So we take $2,000 baseline, plus $300 for the buffer, plus $150 of margin, and we get $2,450 per month. That's their personal, enough number, for this particular stage of life. Notice what we didn't do. We didn't say they need $5,000. We didn't say they need $10,000. We didn't compare them with their neighbor. We didn't tell them to become a millionaire. We simply asked, what does my life actually cost? What do I need to build financial protection? And how much room do I need to enjoy my money without sabotaging myself? That's the calculation. And once you know it, something changes. So here's the reveal. The exact number that makes you stop feeling broke isn't the same number for everyone. That's actually the point. Your number is baseline expenses plus your monthly buffer contribution plus your guilt-free margin. That's it. The example gave us $2,450. Yours might be $1,500. It might be $3,000. It might be $6,000. The number itself isn't the victory. Knowing the number is. Because before you calculate it, I need more money, is an endless sentence. There's no finish line. But once you know your number, you can finally say, this is what I need. And then you can build toward it. That's a completely different psychological game. This is where the calculation becomes more than a spreadsheet exercise. Before you know your number, financial stress can feel endless. You make $2,000 and think, I need more. You make $3,000, I still need more. You make $4,000, what if something happens? There's always another imaginary finish line, but when you calculate your actual needs, the problem becomes concrete. Maybe your income is $2,100, and your enough number is $2,450. Now you have a $350 gap. That's a problem you can work on. You can cut expenses, increase income, pay down debt, build your buffer, or change the number itself by changing your lifestyle. That's much healthier than waking up every morning thinking, I'm broke. You're not staring at an infinite problem anymore. You're looking at a number. And numbers can be attacked, 1 month at a time. But there are 3 things that can destroy this system. Number 1. Lifestyle creep. If your income increases, don't automatically increase every expense with it. Number 2. Treating your buffer like spending money. Your emergency fund isn't a secret shopping account. It's there for emergencies. Number 3. Comparing your number to somebody else's. You might calculate an amount that gives you peace. Then see someone online making 10 times more. Suddenly, your number feels embarrassing. Don't fall for it. Financial security isn't a competition. The goal isn't to have more than everyone else. The goal is to have enough control over your own money that you can breathe. And you can do this tonight. You don't need a financial advisor. You don't need a complicated spreadsheet. You don't need to understand investing. Just take 10 minutes. First, write down your essential monthly expenses. That's your baseline. Second, choose a realistic monthly amount to build your financial buffer. Start small if you need to. Even $25 or $50 is progress if that's what your situation allows. Third, choose your guilt-free margin. Maybe it's $50. Maybe it's $100. Give yourself some room to actually enjoy your life. Then add the 3 numbers together. That's your current enough number. Write it somewhere you can see it. And remember, your number isn't permanent. If your rent changes, your family changes, your debt disappears, or your income grows, you can calculate it again. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is clarity. Here's what I want you to remember. Feeling broke doesn't always mean you're bad with money. And it doesn't always mean you need to become incredibly wealthy. Sometimes, you simply haven't defined what enough looks like for your life. When you know your baseline, when you have a buffer, and when you give yourself a small amount of freedom, money starts feeling less like a constant emergency. And that's powerful, because the goal isn't to spend your entire life chasing a bigger number. The goal is to know the number that lets you breathe. Then build beyond it when you're ready. So calculate yours. And if you're comfortable sharing it, put your enough number in the comments. Not your salary, not your bank balance, your number. And if you want the next step, watch for the follow-up where we'll break down exactly how to build the buffer that turns financial emergencies into financial inconveniences. Until then, remember, you don't need infinite money to stop feeling broke. You need a clear definition of enough.